In 2012, which town became the first in Essex to be granted city status? Chelmsford. Chelmsford was granted city status in 2012 as part of the Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee celebrations, becoming the first city in the county of Essex. This recognition acknowledged its growing population, economic importance, and historical significance as a major administrative centre. Under which Roman emperor did the Roman Empire reach its greatest territorial extent? Trajan. Trajan, who reigned from 98 to 117 AD, is renowned for expanding the Roman Empire to its largest territorial size. His military campaigns led to the annexation of Dacia, Armenia, and Mesopotamia. Who is the monarch of Denmark? Margaret II. Margaret II reigned as Queen of Denmark from 1972 until her abdication in January 2024. She was a significant figure in European royalty, serving as the longest reigning Danish monarch. Which imperial unit of length is equivalent to 91.44 centimeters? A yard. A yard is an imperial unit of length, historically defined as 3 feet or 36 inches. In the International Yard and Pound Agreement, it is precisely equal to 0.9144 meters, or 91.44 centimeters. With which section of the community is the organization, Gingerbread, primarily concerned? Single parents. Gingerbread is a prominent charity in the United Kingdom dedicated to supporting single-parent families. It provides essential advice, information, and practical support to help single parents navigate challenges and improve their well-being. In the biblical book of Judges, who is identified as the son of Manoah? Samson. Samson is a legendary figure in the book of Judges, renowned for his immense strength, which was often attributed to his long hair. He was a Nazirite from birth, divinely ordained to deliver the Israelites from the Philistines. What rank does a British Army officer hold if their insignia consist of a crown and 2 stars on their shoulder straps? Colonel. In the British Army, the insignia of a colonel features a crown, St. Edward's crown, and 2 stars, pips or Bath stars. This rank is a senior field officer position, typically commanding a regiment or battalion. By what specific term are the step pyramids of ancient Mesopotamia known? Ziggurat. Ziggurats were massive stepped pyramids constructed in ancient Mesopotamia by the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. These terraced structures served primarily as temples or platforms for temples, believed to be homes for the gods. Which prominent Russian revolutionary, born in 1879, was originally named Lev Davidovich Bronstein? Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky was a key figure in the Bolshevik Revolution and a prominent Marxist theorist. He played a crucial role alongside Lenin in the October Revolution and the early Soviet government, later becoming a leading critic of Stalin. Name the last pitched battle fought on English soil. Sedgemoor. The Battle of Sedgemoor, fought in 1685, was the final pitched battle on English soil. It marked the decisive defeat of the Monmouth Rebellion, an attempt to overthrow King James II. Which was the second bridge to be built over the Thames in central London? Westminster. Westminster Bridge was the second bridge built across the River Thames in central London, completed in 1750. The first was the historical London Bridge, with its origins dating back to Roman times. By what name is the former Marriage Guidance Council now known? Relate. The Marriage Guidance Council, established in 1938, rebranded as Relate in 1990. Relate is a prominent UK charity offering relationship support, counselling, and therapy services. By what name is the Russian city of Stalingrad now known? Volgograd. Stalingrad, famous for the pivotal World War II battle, was renamed Volgograd in 1961 during the Stalinization period. This change aimed to remove references to Joseph Stalin from public places. In troy weight, how many grains are there in a penny weight? 24. The troy weight system is traditionally used for precious metals, gemstones, and gunpowder. In this system, 1 penny weight is equivalent to 24 grains. Which reptile's name comes from the Spanish, el lagarto, meaning the lizard? Alligator. The name, alligator, is derived from the Spanish phrase, el lagarto, meaning the lizard. Spanish explorers in Florida observed these large reptiles and thus gave them this descriptive name. According to Dr. Johnson, what in England is given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. Oats. This famous quote is attributed to Samuel Johnson from his Dictionary of the English Language, 1755. It humorously contrasts the primary use of oats in England, as animal feed, with its importance as a staple food for people in Scotland. Which bridge in central London was originally known as the Strand Bridge when opened in 1817? Waterloo. Waterloo Bridge, a prominent bridge across the River Thames in central London, was originally named Strand Bridge upon its opening in 1817. It was subsequently renamed to commemorate the Allied victory at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Which type of coal contains the highest carbon count and the fewest impurities? Anthracite. Anthracite is the highest rank of coal, characterized by its very high carbon content, typically over 90%, and low impurities. This makes it a very clean burning fuel, used primarily for residential and commercial heating. In which century were the Royal Marines founded? 17th. The Royal Marines were founded in 1664 as the Duke of York and Albany's Maritime Regiment of Foot. This establishment in the 17th century marks their origin as an integral part of Britain's naval fighting force. The Eiffel Tower has a restaurant named after which author? Jules Verne. The Eiffel Tower features a prestigious restaurant named Le Jules Verne, located on its second floor. This pays homage to the visionary French author Jules Verne, famous for his pioneering science fiction novels like 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas. Who composed the music for the oratorios The Apostles and the Kingdom? Elgar. Sir Edward Elgar, a prominent English composer, is renowned for composing the music for the oratorios The Apostles, 1903, and The Kingdom, 1906. These works are significant contributions to his prolific career in classical music. Rudyard Kipling was the cousin of which British Prime Minister? Stanley Baldwin. Rudyard Kipling, the Nobel laureate author, was the first cousin of Stanley Baldwin, who served as the British Prime Minister 3 times. This familial connection highlights the interlinked social and political circles of prominent figures in early 20th century Britain. Who was the last English king to die in battle? Richard III. Richard III was the last English king to die in battle, perishing at the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. His defeat marked the end of the Wars of the Roses and the beginning of the Tudor dynasty. Which sister ship of the Titanic never entered commercial service and was sunk by a mine while serving as a hospital ship in 1916? Britannic. The Britannic was the third and largest of the White Star Line's Olympic-class liners, a sister ship to the Titanic. It never served its intended commercial route, instead being converted into a hospital ship during World War I and sinking after hitting a mine in 1916. What is the name of the world's highest restaurant located on the 122nd floor of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai? Atmosphere. Atmosphere is a renowned restaurant located on the 122nd floor of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, making it one of the world's highest restaurants. Situated in the iconic skyscraper, it offers unparalleled panoramic views of the city. Who composed the music for the oratorios, The Creation, and The Seasons? Haydn. Joseph Haydn was a prolific Austrian composer of the classical period. These two oratorios are among his most celebrated works, showcasing his mastery of choral and orchestral composition and contributing significantly to the genre. Apart from Venus, which other planet in our solar system does not have any natural satellites, moons? Mercury. Mercury and Venus are the only two planets in our solar system that do not have any natural moons. This is a fundamental fact in planetary science, distinguishing them from other planets with multiple or at least one satellite. When old age pensions were introduced in the United Kingdom in 1909, what was the weekly entitlement for a single pensioner over 70 with an annual income below £21? 5 shillings. The Old Age Pensions Act of 1908, effective from 1909, marked a significant step in the UK's welfare provision. It provided a non-contributory pension of 5 shillings per week for eligible individuals over 70, laying the groundwork for modern social security systems. Which Scottish-born scientist is widely credited with the invention of the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. Alexander Graham Bell, a Scottish-born American inventor, scientist, and engineer, is renowned for inventing the telephone. He was granted the first U.S. patent for the telephone on March 7, 1876, revolutionizing global communication. Which is the world's longest range of mountains? The Andes. The Andes are the longest continental mountain range in the world, stretching over 7,000 kilometers along the western coast of South America. This major mountain system influences the climate and biodiversity of several South American countries, forming a continuous highland chain. Which peace treaty ended the Russo-Japanese War? Portsmouth. The Treaty of Portsmouth officially ended the Russo-Japanese War in 1905, mediated by U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. This treaty was significant as it marked the emergence of Japan as a major world power and the decline of Russian imperial influence in East Asia. Which is the only Australian state capital not named after a person? Perth. Perth is the capital and largest city of Western Australia. Unlike some other Australian state capitals named after individuals, e.g., Adelaide for Queen Adelaide, Perth was named after Perth, Scotland, the birthplace of Sir George Murray, then Secretary of State for War and the Colonies. What name is given to the fur of the koipu? Nutria. Nutria is the common name for the fur of the koipu, a large, semi-aquatic rodent native to South America. Koipus were widely farmed for their fur in the 20th century, and escaped populations have become invasive species in many parts of the world, causing significant ecological damage. Which city was the interim capital of Pakistan while Islamabad was being constructed? Rawalpindi. Rawalpindi served as the interim capital of Pakistan from 1959 to 1969, while the new purpose-built capital city of Islamabad was under construction. Rawalpindi is located adjacent to Islamabad and remains a major urban center and military headquarters. In Norse mythology, who was the wife of Odin? Frigga. In Norse mythology, Frigg, also known as Frigga, is the foremost goddess of the Aesir, the wife of Odin, and the mother of Balder. She is associated with wisdom, foresight, weaving, and motherhood, holding a significant position among the gods. Which Native American tribe were also known as the Dakota? Sioux. The Sioux are a broad group of Native American tribes and First Nations peoples in North America. They are divided into three major linguistic and cultural groups: the Isanti, Santi, the Ihanktonwan Ihanktonwana, Yankton Yanktone, and the Lakota, all of whom collectively refer to themselves as the Dakota, Nakota, or Lakota, meaning allies or friends. What is the German name for the Danube? Donau. The Danube is Europe's second longest river, flowing through 10 countries. Its German name, Donau, is widely recognized in geographical and historical contexts across Central and Eastern Europe. How is the fragrant white spring flower with the botanical name Convallaria majalis popularly known? Lily of the Valley. Convallaria majalis, commonly known as lily of the valley, is a highly fragrant perennial plant. It is notable for its delicate white, bell-shaped flowers and is often associated with spring and various cultural traditions. In Norse mythology, who was the god of mischief? Loki. Loki is a prominent figure in Norse mythology, known as a trickster god. He is often depicted as a cunning and mischievous deity with the ability to shape-shift and instigate conflict. Which Dickens novel is subtitled, The Parish Boy's Progress? Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist, by Charles Dickens, is a classic novel subtitled, The Parish Boy's Progress. It vividly portrays the harsh realities of poverty, crime, and the workhouse system in 19th century London, serving as a social commentary. The lack of which vitamin caused scurvy in the early days of the Navy? Vitamin C. Scurvy, a disease characterized by general weakness, anemia, gum disease, and skin hemorrhages, is caused by a severe deficiency of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. It was particularly prevalent among sailors on long voyages due to the lack of fresh fruits and vegetables. The Navajo tribe live mainly in 3 U.S. states, name one of them. New Mexico, Arizona, Utah. The Navajo Nation is the largest Native American reservation in the United States, spanning parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. The Navajo people, also known as Dine, are the largest federally recognized tribe in the U.S. Who succeeded to the English throne in 1422 at the age of 9 months? Henry VI. Henry VI became King of England in 1422 at the tender age of 9 months. Following the death of his father, Henry V, his long reign was marked by significant political instability and ultimately the Wars of the Roses. What was the main American tank of World War II? Sherman. The M4 Sherman was the primary tank used by the United States and the Western Allies during World War II. Despite facing superior German tanks in some aspects, its massive production numbers and adaptability were crucial for Allied victory. What do the Russians call Moscow? Moskva. Moscow, the capital and largest city of Russia, is known as Moskva in Russian. The city is a major political, economic, cultural, and scientific center in Russia and Eastern Europe. Which family holds the hereditary right to the office of Earl Marshal of England? Howard family. The Howard family, primarily the Dukes of Norfolk, holds the hereditary office of Earl Marshal. This ancient position is responsible for organizing state ceremonies like coronations and royal funerals, and is also the head of the College of Arms. Which was the major battle of the Franco-Prussian War? Battle of Sedan. The Battle of Sedan, fought on September 1, 1870, was a decisive engagement in the Franco-Prussian War. It resulted in the capture of Emperor Napoleon III and a large part of the French army, leading directly to the collapse of the Second French Empire and contributing to German unification. Who invented dynamite? Alfred Nobel. Alfred Nobel, a Swedish chemist, engineer, and industrialist, invented dynamite in 1867. This invention revolutionized mining and construction, though Nobel later became known for establishing the Nobel Prizes to promote peace and scientific advancement. In which city is the La Scala Opera House located? Milan. Teatro alla Scala, commonly known as La Scala, is one of the world's leading opera houses, located in Milan, Italy. It has hosted many of Italy's greatest operatic artists and premieres of famous operas since its inauguration in 1778. How many gills are there in half a gallon? 16 gills. A gill is a historical unit of volume. In the imperial system, 1 gallon equals 32 gills. Therefore, half a gallon, 0.5 gallons, contains 16 gills. This unit is less commonly used today but persists in some traditional contexts. Which Bavarian town hosts a Wagner festival every July and August? Bayreuth. Bayreuth, a town in Bavaria, Germany, is famous for its annual Bayreuth festival, dedicated exclusively to the performance of operas by the 19th-century German composer Richard Wagner. The festival is held in the Bayreuth Festspielhaus, an opera house designed by Wagner himself. King Stephen, 1135 to 1154, was the only monarch from which royal house? House of Blois. King Stephen reigned during the Anarchy, a civil war for the English throne between 1135 and 1154. He was the only English king from the House of Blois, a French noble family, and his reign ended with the Treaty of Winchester, naming Henry II as his successor. By what common name is the garden plant syringa known? Lilac. Syringa is the botanical genus for the deciduous flowering shrubs and small trees commonly known as lilacs. These plants are native to woodlands and scrublands in Europe and Asia and are widely cultivated for their fragrant, showy flowers, especially in spring. Who was the last astronaut to have walked on the moon? Eugene Cernan. Eugene Cernan was the last person to walk on the moon, serving as commander of Apollo 17 in December 1972. As he left the lunar surface, he famously stated, "We leave as we came, and God willing, as we'll return, with peace and hope for all mankind." Who was the only president of the United States to remain a bachelor throughout his term? James Buchanan. James Buchanan, the 15th U.S. President, 1857 to 1861, is unique for being the only president who never married. He was engaged once, but it ended tragically, and he never pursued marriage again, with his niece serving as his first lady. Which historical event forms the backdrop for Charles Dickens' novel, A Tale of Two Cities? The French Revolution. Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities is a historical novel set in London and Paris before and during the French Revolution. The novel vividly portrays the social injustices in France that led to the revolution, contrasting them with the relatively stable life in England. What is the meaning of the Latin phrase, modus vivendi? Way of living. Modus vivendi is a Latin phrase that translates to way of living. In a diplomatic context, it refers to an agreement between parties that allows them to coexist peacefully, despite differences, often as a temporary arrangement pending a more permanent resolution. In which specific room of Buckingham Palace are investiture ceremonies typically held? The ballroom. Investiture ceremonies, where honors such as knighthoods and medals are presented, are typically held in the ballroom of Buckingham Palace. This grand room, the largest in the palace, was completed in 1855 during Queen Victoria's reign and is also used for state banquets. Where in the human body is the cochlea? In the ear. The cochlea is a spiral-shaped, fluid-filled cavity in the inner ear that plays a crucial role in hearing. It contains the organ of Polity, which transduces sound vibrations into nerve impulses that are sent to the brain for interpretation. Which games were first held in Buenos Aires in 1951 and then every 4 years? The Pan American Games. The Pan American Games are a major multi-sport event held every 4 years among competitors from nations of the Americas. The inaugural event took place in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in 1951, fostering athletic competition and regional solidarity. Who is the only US president to have been divorced? Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan holds the distinction of being the only US president who had been divorced. His first marriage was to actress Jane Wyman, which ended in divorce in 1948, several decades before he entered the White House. What name is given to a number system with base 16? Hexadecimal. A hexadecimal number system is a base 16 numeral system, using 16 distinct symbols to represent numbers. It commonly uses symbols 0 to 9 and AF, or AF, to represent values 0 to 15, and is widely used in computing to represent binary data in a more compact and readable form. The prairie dog is a member of which family of rodents? Squirrel. The prairie dog, despite its name, belongs to the squirrel family, Curated. These highly social, burrowing rodents are native to the grasslands of North America and are known for their complex underground tunnels and distinct alarm calls. Name the town in south-central France which has made hard-paste porcelain since 1771. Limoges. Limoges is a city in south-central France renowned globally for its fine hard-paste porcelain production, which began there in 1771. The distinctive kaolin clay found in the region was crucial to the development and success of this industry, establishing Limoges as a center for ceramic artistry. How many inches are there in a hand, the unit used to measure the height of a horse? 4. A hand is a traditional, non-SI unit of length primarily used to measure the height of horses from the ground to the highest point of the withers. 1 hand is precisely equal to 4 inches, 10.16 centimeters. In which English county is Barnstable? Devon. Barnstable is a historic market town, river port, and civil parish in the ceremonial county of Devon, England. It is situated on the River Tor, approximately 34 miles northwest of Exeter. From what would you fear if you suffered from gymnophobia? Nudity. Gymnophobia is the irrational and intense fear of nudity. Individuals with this phobia may experience extreme anxiety or panic attacks when exposed to nudity, either their own or that of others, stemming from various psychological factors. Who was the president of the USA during the Wall Street crash? Herbert Hoover. The Wall Street crash of 1929 occurred during Herbert Hoover's presidency, marking the onset of the Great Depression. His administration faced significant challenges in addressing the ensuing economic crisis, which led to widespread unemployment and social unrest. Which famous novel, published in 1719, features its title character describing his home as the Island of Despair? Robinson Crusoe. Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, published in 1719, is a pioneering work of English literature and an adventure novel. The protagonist, a castaway, uses the Island of Despair to describe his isolated and challenging existence on the remote island. Specifically, where on the human body is the axilla located? Armpit. The axilla, commonly known as the armpit, is a crucial anatomical region beneath the shoulder joint. It houses vital structures such as lymph nodes, blood vessels, and nerves, making it an important area for clinical examination and surgical procedures. Which famous heavenly body shares its name with the second astronomer royal, who held the position from 1720 to 1742? Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet is a periodic comet visible from Earth approximately every 75 to 76 years. It is named after Edmund Halley, the second astronomer royal, who, in 1705, successfully predicted its return based on Isaac Newton's laws of motion. Which small island, located in the middle of the South Atlantic, was named after the day of its discovery in 1503 by Portuguese navigator Afonso de Albuquerque? Ascension Island. Ascension Island is a remote volcanic island in the South Atlantic Ocean, named after Ascension Day. Although credited by some to Afonso de Albuquerque in 1503, it was originally sighted by Portuguese navigator João da Nova on Ascension Day in 1501. Which North American state is known by the nickname, the Peach State? Georgia. Georgia is famously known as the Peach State due to its significant historical role in peach cultivation and production. This nickname reflects the fruit's cultural and economic importance to the state, even as other states now surpass it in total peach output. Moses, Muriel, Molly, Benjamin, Mr. Whymper, Squealer, and Minimus are all characters that appear in which famous novel of 1945? Animal Farm. Animal Farm by George Orwell is an allegorical novella published in 1945. It critically examines the events leading up to the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the subsequent Stalinist era in the Soviet Union, using farm animals to represent key political figures and societal classes. The novel serves as a powerful critique of totalitarianism and political corruption. Having a radius of 586 kilometers, what is the name of the largest satellite of the dwarf planet Pluto? Charon. Charon is the largest of Pluto's 5 known moons and is so substantial that the Pluto-Charon system is often referred to as a binary dwarf planet. Its diameter is more than half that of Pluto itself, making it exceptionally large relative to its primary. Which island, situated in the Canadian territory of Nunavut, was discovered by Europeans in 1576 and is named after an English navigator who died in 1622? Baffin Island. Baffin Island is the largest island in Canada and the 5th largest island globally, located within the Arctic archipelago of Nunavut. It was named after the English navigator William Baffin, who extensively explored the region in the early 17th century. Which North American state has the nickname, the Badger State? Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a U.S. state situated in the north-central United States. It earned its nickname, the Badger State, from early 19th century lead miners who dug temporary shelters into hillsides, resembling badger setts. Which astronaut, part of the Apollo 12 mission on November 19, 1969, became the 4th person to walk on the moon after Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Pete Conrad? Alan Bean. Alan Bean was an American naval officer, aviator, and NASA astronaut who served as the lunar module pilot on Apollo 12. He became the 4th person to walk on the moon, participating in the mission that made the second crewed lunar landing. Which astronaut, part of the Apollo 17 mission on December 11, 1972, became the last of 2 men to walk on the moon along with fellow astronaut Harrison Schmitt? Eugene Cernan. Eugene Cernan was an American naval officer, aviator, and NASA astronaut who commanded the Apollo 17 mission. As commander, he became the last man to walk on the moon in December 1972, alongside lunar module pilot Harrison Schmitt, marking the final crewed lunar landing. Which London theatre shares its name with a silvery white metal having the atomic number 46? Palladium. The London Palladium is a historic Grade II listed West End theatre in Westminster, London, renowned for its variety shows and musicals. Palladium is also a rare and lustrous silvery white transition metal, with the atomic number 46 and the chemical symbol Pd, discovered in 1803. Which chemical element, a strong, light metal with the atomic number 22, takes its name from the Greek for first sons on earth? Titanium. Titanium is a chemical element with the symbol T and atomic number 22, known for its high strength, low density, and excellent corrosion resistance. Its name is derived from the Titans of Greek mythology, who were considered the first sons of the earth. Standing at 1,309 meters in height, which is Scotland's second highest mountain after Ben Nevis and the highest mountain in the Cairngorms. Ben Macdui. Ben Macdui is the second highest mountain in Scotland and the United Kingdom, towering at 1,309 meters, 4,295 feet, above sea level. It is the highest peak in the Cairngorms mountain range, a prominent feature of the Scottish Highlands. Which peak, the 11th highest in England at 893 meters, is situated in the North Pennines and is not located in the Lake District, unlike 23 out of the top 24 highest peaks in England, including Scafell Pike? Crossfell. Crossfell is the highest mountain in the Pennines, located in Cumbria, England, standing at 893 meters, 2,930 feet. It is known for its isolated position and often experiences harsh weather conditions, including the unique Helm wind. What is the name of the all-female Russian punk band that was jailed for 2 years in 2012 for staging an anti-Vladimir Putin protest in a Moscow cathedral? Pussy Riot. Pussy Riot is a Russian feminist punk rock protest group known for their provocative political performances. In 2012, several members were imprisoned for punk prayer performance in Moscow's Cathedral of Christ the Savior, protesting Vladimir Putin's government and the Russian Orthodox Church's support. Which Gilbert and Sullivan opera, set in Asia, featured the famous saying, "Let the punishment fit the crime"? The Mikado. The Mikado is a comic opera by Gilbert and Sullivan, first performed in 1885. It is set in a fictionalized Japan and satirizes British society and institutions through its storyline. The phrase, "Let the punishment fit the crime," is a notable line from this widely acclaimed operetta. Introduced in 2006, what two-word term was given to the optical disc storage medium designed to succeed DVD, offering significantly larger capacity and superior picture quality? Blu-ray. Blu-ray, often abbreviated as BD, is a digital optical disc data storage format designed to replace DVD. It utilizes a blue-violet laser, allowing for a much greater data density and storage capacity, primarily for high-definition video and large data files. Which Asian country's flag consists of a single yellow star on a red background? Vietnam. The national flag of Vietnam, also known as the flag of the fatherland, features a golden five-pointed star on a red field. The red symbolizes revolution and the blood shed in the struggle for independence, while the yellow star represents the unity of the Vietnamese people. Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush was born in 1924. Which other former U.S. president, who is still living, was born in the same year? Jimmy Carter. George H.W. Bush, the 41st U.S. President, and Jimmy Carter, the 39th U.S. President, were both born in 1924. They represent different political parties, Republican and Democrat, respectively, and are notable for their significant post-presidency humanitarian work and advocacy. Who was elected as the leader of the House of Commons on September 4, 2012? Andrew Lansley. The Leader of the House of Commons is a senior ministerial position in the UK government, responsible for managing government business and scheduling debates. Andrew Lansley served in this role from September 2012 to April 2015 under Prime Minister David Cameron. Which Gilbert and Sullivan opera, introduced in 1889, features an opening scene with 24 Venetian maidens preparing posies for Marco and Giuseppe Palmieri? The Gondoliers. The Gondoliers is a comic opera by Gilbert and Sullivan, which premiered in 1889. The plot revolves around two gondoliers who are discovered to be one of them as the heir to the throne of Berthier, and the romantic entanglements that ensue. Which Asian country's flag features a large red disc centered on a green background? Bangladesh. The flag of Bangladesh consists of a red circle on a green field. The red disc represents the sun rising over Bengal, and also the blood shed by those who died for the independence of Bangladesh. The green background symbolizes the lush vegetation of the country. Former US President Gerald Ford was born in 1913, the same year as which other deceased former US President? Richard Nixon. Gerald Ford, the 38th US President, and Richard Nixon, the 37th US President, were both born in 1913. Nixon resigned from office in 1974 amidst the Watergate scandal, and Ford, then Vice President, succeeded him, later pardoning Nixon. Introduced in 2007, what six-letter name is given to the e-book reader and software, hardware platform designed by Amazon for digital media, capable of storing over 1,000 books? Kindle. The Amazon Kindle, launched in 2007, revolutionized digital reading by popularizing e-ink displays and making a vast library of e-books accessible. It allowed users to download, browse, and read e-books, magazines, and other digital media. Clara Petacci, 1912–1945, was the mistress of which famous politician, 1883–1945? Benito Mussolini. Clara Petacci was an Italian noblewoman known for being the mistress of Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy. They were both executed by partisans in April 1945 towards the end of World War II, marking a dramatic end to the fascist regime. The Brenner Pass connects Italy with which other country? Austria. The Brenner Pass is one of the most important passes in the Eastern Alps, connecting Italy and Austria. It serves as a vital transportation route for both passenger and freight traffic through the mountains. Which famous historical figure, who lived from 1595 to 1617, was famously linked to English captain John Smith, who arrived in her country with more than 100 settlers in April 1607? Pocahontas. Pocahontas was a Native American woman, daughter of Chief Powhatan, who was the paramount chief of the Powhatan Confederacy in Virginia. She is well known for her association with the colonial settlement at Jamestown, Virginia, and her interactions with Captain John Smith in the early 17th century. Which famous novel, published in 1939, features the main family named Joad, a poor family of tenant farmers during the Great Depression? The Grapes of Wrath. The Grapes of Wrath is a classic American novel written by John Steinbeck, published in 1939. It chronicles the struggles of the Joad family, tenant farmers forced from their home in Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl and Great Depression, as they journey to California in search of a better life. The novel is a powerful commentary on social injustice and resilience. Which famous novel, published in 1922, features Leopold Bloom as the main character and protagonist, following his encounters in Dublin? Ulysses. Ulysses is a landmark modernist novel by Irish writer James Joyce, published in 1922. The novel details the events of a single day, June 16, 1904, in Dublin, through the experiences of its Jewish protagonist, Leopold Bloom. It is celebrated for its stream of consciousness narrative and its intricate allusions to Homer's Odyssey. What is the name of the bridge in southern France that opened in 2004, crossing the river Taron in the massive Central Mountains, and with a height of 984 feet, it is considered the world's highest road bridge? The Millau Viaduct. The Millau Viaduct is a multi-state cable-stayed bridge spanning the gorge valley of the Taron River near Millau in southern France. Opened in 2004, it is an engineering marvel designed by Michel Virloguex and Norman Foster. At 343 meters, 1,125 feet, at its highest point, it is one of the world's tallest bridges. Which renowned public school is situated in Godalming in Surrey? Charterhouse. Charterhouse is a historic independent boarding school for boys and girls in Godalming, Surrey, England. Founded in 1611, it is one of the original 7 great public schools identified by the Public Schools Act of 1868, known for its distinguished academic tradition. Which renowned independent school is situated in Elgin in Moray? Gordonston. Gordonston is an independent boarding school located in Moray, Scotland. Founded in 1934, it is known for its distinctive educational philosophy emphasizing outdoor education, public service, and character development, and is famously the alma mater of King Charles III. Which Austrian far-right leader was killed in a car crash in October 2008? Jörg Haider. Jörg Haider was a prominent Austrian politician who led the Freedom Party of Austria, FPÖ, and later founded the Alliance for the Future of Austria, BIZO. A controversial figure in European politics known for his right-wing populist views, he died in a car crash in October 2008. In which European country is the headquarters of the telecommunications company Nokia located? Finland. Nokia Corporation is a Finnish multinational telecommunications, information technology, and consumer electronics company, founded in 1865. Its headquarters are in Espoo, Finland, making it a prominent example of a globally recognized brand originating from a Nordic country. In Greek mythology, Clytemnestra was the wife of which king? Agamemnon. Clytemnestra was the wife of Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae and leader of the Achaeans in the Trojan War. Her story is central to Greek tragedies, particularly Aeschylus's Orestia, depicting themes of revenge and justice within the royal house of Atreus. Hansen's disease is another name for which bacterial infection? Leprosy. Hansen's disease is the medical term for leprosy, a chronic infectious disease caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium leprae. It primarily affects the skin, peripheral nerves, upper respiratory tract, eyes, and testes, and is curable with multidrug therapy, MDT. What was the name of the street on which President Kennedy's limousine was traveling at the time of his assassination in 1963? Elm Street. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, while riding in a motorcade on Elm Street in Dallas, Texas. This tragic event remains a pivotal moment in American history, leading to numerous investigations and enduring public discourse. Which term was coined to denote the followers of the 14th century churchman John Wycliffe? Lollards. Lollards were followers of John Wycliffe, a 14th century English reformer. They advocated for reforms within the Catholic Church, emphasizing biblical authority and criticizing clerical abuses, laying groundwork for the Protestant Reformation. Which fruit is known for its high caloric content? Avocado. Avocados are fruits uniquely rich in monounsaturated fatty acids, making them one of the most calorie-dense fruits. They are also packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber, offering significant nutritional value. In physics, which Greek letter is commonly used to denote torque? Tau. In physics, the Greek letter tau is universally used to represent torque. Torque is a rotational force that causes an object to rotate around an axis, calculated as the product of force and the perpendicular distance from the pivot. What is the literal meaning of the Japanese term, harakiri, often used in the West as a synonym for ritual self-sacrifice? Cutting the belly. Harakiri literally translates to cutting the belly in Japanese. It refers to a form of ritual suicide, also known as seppuku, historically performed by samurai in Japan to die with honor rather than fall into enemy hands or as a form of capital punishment. In Greek mythology, who rejected the nymph Echo who pined away until only her voice was left? Narcissus. In Greek mythology, Narcissus was a hunter renowned for his beauty who rejected all romantic advances, including those of the nymph Echo. His self-absorption led to his demise as he fell in love with his own reflection and eventually wasted away, giving rise to the term, narcissism. The dung of which mammal is known as spraint? Otter. Spraint is the specific term used for the droppings of an otter. Otters use spraints, often found in prominent locations, to mark their territory and communicate with other otters. Which king of England reigned between the years 978 and 1016, succeeding his father Edgar and his half-brother Edward? Ethelred. Ethelred the Unready reigned as King of England from 978 to 1016, a period marked by escalating Viking raids. His reign is largely remembered for his ineffective resistance against the Danes and the infamous St. Brice's Day massacre. What in physics is the minimum amount of any physical entity involved in an interaction? A quantum. In physics, a quantum refers to the minimum amount of any physical entity or property, like energy or momentum, that can be involved in an interaction. This fundamental concept, introduced by Max Planck, forms the basis of quantum mechanics. Which aromatic herb is traditionally used as a symbol of remembrance? Rosemary. Rosemary, Rosmarinus officinalis, is an evergreen shrub with fragrant, needle-like leaves, traditionally associated with remembrance and fidelity. Its use as a symbol of memory dates back to ancient times, often appearing in literature and folklore. Which apple-like fruit with the Latin name Macepalus has to over-ripen and turn brown before it can be eaten? Medlar. The medlar, Mespalus germanica, is a small tree native to Southwest Asia and Southeast Europe, producing a unique fruit. Unlike most fruits, medlars are typically eaten only after they have undergone bletting, a process of over-ripening where they soften and turn brown, developing a palatable applesauce-like texture and sweet flavor. Deciduous dentition, seen in children, is better known by what name? Milk teeth. Deciduous dentition refers to the first set of teeth in humans and many other mammals, commonly known as milk teeth or baby teeth. These teeth typically begin to erupt around 6 months of age and are gradually shed to make way for permanent teeth. Which of the territories of Canada has the city of Yellowknife as its capital? The Northwest Territories. Yellowknife is the capital and largest community of the Northwest Territories, one of Canada's 3 federal territories. Located on the northern shore of Great Slave Lake, it is a significant hub for mining and a gateway to the Arctic. The English stately home created for the Earl of Carlisle, Indiana 1699 is still owned by his descendants, and still known by the family name. Which stately home is it? Castle Howard. Castle Howard is a magnificent stately home in North Yorkshire, England, built for the 3rd Earl of Carlisle beginning in 1699. It is renowned for its Baroque architecture and extensive gardens, remaining a private residence of the Howard family. Eustonhof, Van Mildert, and St. Cuthbert's Society are among the colleges which are constituent parts of which British university? Durham. Durham University is a collegiate public research university in Durham, England, established by an Act of Parliament in 1832. Its distinctive collegiate structure means that students are members of both the university and one of its constituent colleges, such as Euston, Van Mildert, and St. Cuthbert's Society, providing a strong sense of community. When Lord Salisbury left office as Prime Minister in 1902, who was his nephew and successor? Arthur Balfour. Lord Salisbury, a prominent conservative statesman, served as Prime Minister 3 times. Upon his retirement in 1902, his nephew Arthur Balfour succeeded him, marking a significant transition in British politics. Balfour continued Salisbury's imperial policies and introduced key reforms like the Education Act of 1902. Augury is a form of telling the future by doing what? Interpreting the flight of birds. Augury is an ancient practice, particularly prominent in Roman religion, where priests or official augurs would interpret omens, especially the flight patterns of birds, to discern the will of the gods and predict future events. This practice influenced important decisions in public and private life. Which Austrian composer's works are assigned K numbers according to the 19th century Kochel catalogue? Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's compositions are famously catalogued with K numbers, e.g., K 550 for his Symphony No. 40. This comprehensive chronological catalogue was compiled by Ludwig von Kochel in the mid-19th century and remains the standard reference for Mozart's vast body of work. In 1860, which Englishman invented an electric lamp sometime before Edison registered his patent for the same device? Sir Joseph Swan. Sir Joseph Swan was a British physicist and chemist who developed an efficient and long-lasting incandescent light bulb in the 1860s, predating Thomas Edison's patent by several years. While Edison is often credited, Swan's pioneering work was crucial in the development of practical electric lighting. Upminster and Wimbledon are the termini of which London Underground line? District Line. The District Line is one of the London Underground's oldest and most extensive lines, serving a large area of London with multiple branches. Upminster and Wimbledon represent two of its significant termini, highlighting the line's reach across the city. Alkin, Goodrich, Halifax, and Vanbrugh are among the colleges which are constituent parts of which British university? University of York. The University of York is a collegiate research university in York, England. Like Oxford and Cambridge, it operates a college system, where each college provides a social and academic community for its students and staff, fostering a distinct identity within the larger university structure. The radio telescope at Jodrell Bank is named after which physicist and astronomer? Sir Bernard Lowell. The iconic Lowell telescope at Jodrell Bank Observatory, part of the University of Manchester, is named after its founder, Sir Bernard Lowell. A pioneer in radio astronomy, Lowell was instrumental in establishing the observatory and developing its capabilities for tracking spacecraft and conducting groundbreaking astrophysical research. Edgware and Morden are the termini of which London Underground line? Northern Line. The Northern Line is a deep-level tube line on the London Underground, known for its distinct bifurcated branches, making it the longest line on the system. Edgware and Morden are two of its principal termini, connecting significant residential areas to central London. The design of the mathematical bridge at Cambridge University is traditionally credited to which scientist, although he died some 20 years before the bridge was constructed? Sir Isaac Newton. The mathematical bridge at Queen's College, Cambridge, is famed for its distinctive timber design. While popular legend attributes its design to Sir Isaac Newton, he died in 1727, decades before the bridge was built in 1749. The actual designer was William Etheridge, with construction by James Essex. Which Mediterranean island is home to the Santuari de Luc monastery, considered its most important pilgrimage site? Majorca. The Santuari de Luc is a significant pilgrimage site in Majorca, Spain, dedicated to the Virgin of Luc, the island's patron saint. Nestled in the Serra da Tramuntana mountains, it serves as a spiritual and cultural hub. Which city, the largest on the Australian west coast, is the capital of the state of Western Australia? Perth. Perth is the capital and largest city of Western Australia, located on the Swan River. It is a major economic hub, particularly for the state's significant mining and resource industries, and is known for its metropolitan parks and vibrant cultural scene. With which inventor did Elisha Gray fight a protracted legal battle, beginning in the 1870s, having filed a patent for the same device at the same time? A.G. Bell. Elisha Gray and Alexander Graham Bell famously filed separate patent applications for the telephone on the same day in February 1876. This led to a significant legal dispute over the invention's true originator, which Bell ultimately won, securing his place in history as the inventor of the telephone. King Ludwig II of Bavaria was the patron of which German composer? Wagner. King Ludwig II of Bavaria, often known as the Mad King, was a fervent admirer and principal patron of the German composer Richard Wagner. His generous financial support was crucial for Wagner to complete and stage many of his monumental operas, including providing funds for the construction of the Bayreuth Festspielhaus. What name is given to the form of divination through books? Bibliomancy. Bibliomancy is a form of divination that involves seeking insight or prophecy by interpreting a randomly chosen passage from a book, often a sacred text like the Bible. The chosen text is then considered a divine message or answer to a specific question. Which stately home in Derbyshire formed the backdrop to the famous historical romance between Dorothy Vernon and Sir John Manners? Haddon Hall. Haddon Hall is a medieval and Tudor country house in Derbyshire, England, renowned for its architectural heritage. It is historically significant for its association with the romantic legend of Dorothy Vernon and Sir John Manners in the 16th century, making it a prominent cultural landmark. Curaçao, off the Venezuelan coast, is a constituent country of which European kingdom? Netherlands. Curaçao is a constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, situated in the southern Caribbean Sea, approximately 65 kilometers north of Venezuela. Its unique political status grants it autonomy while remaining part of the Dutch kingdom. In which year did Napoleon's troops capture Moscow? 1812. Napoleon's Grand Army captured Moscow in September 1812 during the French invasion of Russia. However, the city was largely abandoned and set ablaze by the Russians, denying the French crucial winter supplies and ultimately leading to their disastrous retreat. What is the capital of Indonesia? Jakarta. Jakarta is the capital and largest city of Indonesia, located on the northwest coast of Java Island. It serves as the country's economic, cultural, and political center, although plans are currently underway to relocate the capital to Nusantara. What type of animal is the South African dik-dik? Antelope. The dik-dik is a small antelope species native to the bushlands of eastern and southern Africa. Known for its diminutive size and distinctive facial features, it belongs to the genus Madaquar within the Bovidae family. For which metal is quicksilver another name? Mercury. Quicksilver is an archaic and alternative name for the chemical element mercury, Hg. It is notable for being the only metallic element that is liquid at standard temperature and pressure, often recognized for its silvery appearance and high density. What type of pie is particularly associated with American Thanksgiving dinners? Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is a traditional dessert prominently featured during American Thanksgiving dinners and throughout the autumn season. Made from a spiced pumpkin custard, it symbolizes the fall harvest and is a quintessential element of the holiday feast. What is the longest book in the Old Testament? Psalms. The Book of Psalms is the longest book in the Old Testament, comprising 150 individual psalms or songs. It is a foundational text in both Judaism and Christianity, containing a rich collection of prayers, praises, laments, and wisdom literature. With which instrument is jazz musician, Kid Ory principally associated? Trombone. Edward Kid Ory was a highly influential American jazz trombonist and bandleader, particularly renowned for his contributions to early New Orleans jazz. His distinctive tailgate trombone style became a hallmark of the genre, influencing many subsequent musicians. Which king of England was married to Anne of Bohemia? Richard II. Richard II, who reigned as King of England from 1377 to 1399, was married to Anne of Bohemia. Their marriage, solemnized in 1382, was a significant political alliance aimed at strengthening diplomatic ties between England and Bohemia, though they had no children.